Governor Greg Abbott freezing the funds because he says the city's new immigration ordinance, which changed how Houston police deals with ICE after HPD stops someone with an immigration warrant, violates an agreement with the state. Whitmire voted for the measure, which passed last week on a 12-5 vote, but he's now reversing course.
America, 9 days. That's all it took. On April 8th, 2026, the Democrat mayor of Houston voted yes on a law that told his police officers to stop helping federal immigration agents. 9 days later, that same mayor was calling it a crisis and trying to undo his own vote. The only thing that changed in those 9 days? Texas Governor Greg Abbott froze $110 million. But here's what the news isn't showing you. Houston already spent some of the money. It's gone. They can't give it back. The FIFA World Cup starts in less than 2 months, and Abbott isn't done. Dallas and Austin, you're next.
Between these three cities, roughly $200 million worth of public safety grants are at risk.
What is up, guys? Tyson DeLaCruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Quick breakdown so you understand what happened. ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, are the federal agents whose job it is to find and deport people who are in the country illegally. When Houston police stopped somebody and ICE showed up with a warrant, which is basically an official order to take that person, Houston's old policy said officers had to wait up to 30 minutes for ICE to arrive. On April 8th, the city council voted 12-5 to end that. Officers no longer had to wait. Mayor Whitmire was one of those 12 votes who said, yes, here's the problem. Houston had signed a contract with the state of Texas in exchange for $110 million in public safety money for police, for the fire department, for security programs. Houston agreed to cooperate with immigration enforcement. They signed the deal, they cashed the check, then passed a law that broke the deal. Watch how Abbott explains it in his own words.
If the city council was serious about public safety, they would not allow illegal immigrants to roam their streets and kill people like Jocelyn Nungary. There are other people like that in Houston who've been assaulted and victimized by people who are here illegally and allowed to roam the streets. Second, and importantly, the city of Houston signed an agreement to get money from the state of Texas that required Houston to comply with the Department of Homeland Security programs about detaining illegal immigrants.
Jocelyn was 12 years old. She was from Houston. She was killed by an illegal immigrant the city could have handed to ICE. Abbott named her when the reporter asked why cutting safety funds makes sense. The 12 council members, you guys, who voted for this ordinance never, ever mentioned her. That tells you everything about their priorities. We already know where they're sitting, right? Here's where it gets really bad for Houston. The reporter sat down with the mayor of Houston and asked the most basic questions possible. Does the city actually have $110 million to give back?
Does Houston actually have that money, and how much have we already lost? Or we've already lost some of it, right?
Sure. We've actually spent some of the $114 million on overtime, and the state's asking us to refund that, which we don't have the money. Everyone knows that the city finances are in bad shape. We're going to roll out, and what we should be talking to you about this morning is a budget proposal in May. It's going to balance the budget without raising taxes, and it's actually going to give us a future to provide for Houston's finances. We're going to come up with a system of finance that'll take care of Houston finances for years to come.
Gotcha. So you're saying, well, let me ask you.
I'm saying we're broke.
The Democrat mayor of one of the biggest cities in America just said, we are broke. We're broke on camera. They spent the $114 million that they owe. They're broke like a joke. Houston voted to break the contract for the money they already spent on police overtime and city operations. And now, obviously, they don't have it to return it. But wait, it gets worse because that money was supposed to pay for something that's happening this summer.
We leased 50 ambulances to have additional resources for FIFA. We were going to fund it from this revenue from the state.
50 ambulances already leased, already committed, already sitting somewhere. We're supposed to be paid for with this state money. The FIFA World Cup is this summer. Fans from all over the world are flying into Texas, and the city doesn't have the money for the ambulances that it ordered because the city council voted yes on something without thinking about the bill. The same day that Whitmire was supposed to hold an emergency council meeting, April 16th, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton filed a lawsuit, not against the city in general, against the mayor, the city council members who voted yes, and the police chief by name, all of them personally.
The state of Texas is suing the city of Houston for changing its policies on ICE enforcement. Just a few days ago, Attorney General Ken Paxton named the mayor, city council members, and the police chief as those responsible for the change. Last week, the city council voted to end a policy that required Houston police to hold immigrants until ICE could take them into custody. The new policy prohibits officers from stopping or arresting someone just because they have an ICE warrant. The state says that's a violation of its law against sanctuary cities, prompting today's lawsuit. Meanwhile, the governor's public safety office is revoking funding it sent to the city, saying the city is breaking its agreement to cooperate with Homeland Security.
SB 4, Senate Bill 4, has been Texas law since 2017, 9 years now. Houston passed their ordinance against a rule that existed before most people even knew Abbott's last name. It says cities in Texas cannot pass laws that stop or slow down immigration enforcement. Every council member in Houston had access to that law. They voted yes anyways. And under SB 4, elected officials can be removed from office. Not just fined, removed. Their jobs taken. That's why Whitmire was on the phone with the governor's office before the ink even dried on that lawsuit paperwork. Now here's how the city council member who wrote the ordinance responded to all this.
Have you seen the revised version of the policy?
I have not, and I asked for it last night and was told that I would see it when it was done. I hope if the mayor is working on revising the policy that he will work collaboratively with council to do so.
She wants to go to court while Whitmire is quietly trying to repeal the very law that she wrote. The person who wrote the ordinance wants to fight. The mayor who voted for it wants to repeal it. The governor froze the money. The attorney general filed the lawsuit. Dallas got Abbott's letter on April 16th, same day as the Paxton lawsuit. Their number is bigger than Austin, but different from Houston because of one specific detail. Dallas is hosting 9 FIFA World Cup games this summer, more than any American city. Abbott's letter to Dallas doesn't just threaten regular public safety money.
The governor's office is threatening to withhold millions in police funding to keep the event safe. He's accusing the city of Dallas of violating an agreement for police to cooperate with immigration enforcement. Abbott says if Dallas doesn't reverse course, it could have to repay some $32 million in public safety grant money and lose more than $55 million in money that is meant specifically for World Cup security.
That $55 million wasn't general money. It was set aside only for securing a major international soccer tournament. Abbott found the most painful pressure point and pushed on it very, very hard. Abbott targeted World Cup security funding on purpose. He picked the moment when Dallas needs that money the absolute most and said, change your policy or lose the dollars, Dallas. Dallas has until April 23rd to respond. World Cup starts this summer. The math is very simple here. But here's the thing. Right next door to Dallas is Arlington. Same metro area, same World Cup games, and they have zero problems with the governor.
I look at those issues as something between Dallas and the governor's office, and we're going to stay focused on doing what we do here in Arlington. We have great relationships with all of our federal agencies who do criminal investigations. Whether it's ICE, the FBI, DEA, ATF, it doesn't matter who it is.
Arlington chose to work with federal agencies. Dallas chose to fight them. One is ready for the World Cup. One is begging for its money back. Austin is the third city. Their number is much smaller, $2.5 million. And their council member said something that accidentally told you exactly what this is really about.
I absolutely believe we cannot sell our values for $2.5 million in this very difficult fiscal environment.
If they don't change their policies, Houston could lose $110 million and Dallas could lose $32 million in grants that they'd have to pay back to the state.
And then after that, they still have to find ways to fully fund the police in Houston the way they are today.
Siegel says he believes the city should not give in, even if it means taking this battle to a courtroom.
The people want us to do the right thing, what's legal, what's appropriate, and what makes us safer, and complying with the governor's demands would not do that.
He said values here, you guys. Not safety, not law, values. He's telling you exactly why these ordinances got passed. It is a political statement dressed up as policy. Houston figured out how expensive that political statement was 9 days, and $110 million later. Austin still deciding. But look who actually pays the price when Austin doesn't back down.
If Austin loses the grant funding, city leaders say they likely have to terminate programs that help police officers deal with trauma, help sexual assault survivors, and help the city respond to violent crimes against women.
These aren't immigration programs getting cut. Actual assault survivors losing services. Police officers dealing with trauma lose support. The council member is proud of his values. The women who need those programs can't afford them. And here's the part that makes Texas completely different from any other state fighting this battle. Abbott doesn't need to sue Houston to collect the $110 million. He doesn't need to wait for court. He already has a way to take it directly, and he can use it every single month.
The city of Houston gets a rebate of all the sales taxes collected in the city of Houston on a monthly basis from the comptroller. What happens by law, the comptroller will withhold the sales tax revenue that otherwise would go to the city of Houston and will be retained by the state of Texas until the state of Texas is fully paid the $110 million that is owed by Houston to the state.
Abbott doesn't ask for the money. He tells the person to stop sending one check. Houston's monthly operating budget dries up until the debt's fully paid. Think of the state comptroller like a bank that handles Houston paychecks. Every month, the state collects sales tax from stores and businesses in Houston and sends Houston a share of it. Abbott tells the bank, hold on to the check, don't send it, keep it until the $110 million is paid back. No lawsuit needed, no judges needed. He already controls that transaction. That's why Whitmire said there's only one option that matters, because Abbott's power isn't just over this one grant. It can affect every paycheck Houston receives every single month until the debt is settled. And Whitmire himself warned his own council that they have no idea what they were getting into.
He could cut out transportation money. He could cut out health care. And folks, including the council member, said, oh, he'll never do that. He's done it.
Houston lost criminal justice funding, police overtime, domestic violence investigators, homicide units, human trafficking task force. All of it runs short because on April 8th, 12 people raised their hand and didn't think about what came next. America, while Abigail Spamberger in Virginia is ending ICE cooperation and Stephanie Minter ended up murdered 20 days later, and while Zorhan Mamdani in New York is spending $165 million of your money defending illegal immigrants from deportation, a governor in Texas picked up a 9-year-old contract, froze a check, and made 3 Democrat mayors rethink every decision that they've ever made. Nobody had to die for Abbott's approach. Nobody needed a new law. SB 4 was already there. The contract was already signed. The monthly sales tax payment was already his hold. He just used what existed. The Democrat mayor of Houston is going to ask his own city council to vote to undo a law he voted for 2 weeks ago. The same man who said the governor's opinion is the only one that matters. That's what it looks like, you guys, when someone in charge actually means it. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.